Bang, Trust the Profits coming in hot. Kentucky Derby season. Spotlight videos. We've hit all the main contenders. We got more to go. We're going to do all 20 of these for you. Here's one that's a sleeper for a lot of folks, and I've talked to a lot of industry big name people who love this horse. I love it too. We saw him in person, Maddie. MAGE, baby.
MAGE. He
kind
is
of a dark horse, but I like him. Where are you at on him?
He is a dark horse, and I do like him quite a bit. And I wonder if he's going to become a wise guy horse in this particular field. So I'm a little worried that he's going to get bet down. But there's enough horses in this field that are going to take some action. That I also have a feeling that this is the difference between horse racing wise guy Twitter and regular people going to the track betting on the Kentucky Derby, because if you're looking at MAGE, you see a horse that's got 3 career races and only 1 win. And you go, why am I betting on this horse? But I think if you watch some of those races, you watch that Fountain of Youth where he had legitimate trouble. You watch that Florida Derby where he almost pulled off the huge upset over Forte. There's talent there for sure. And there are definitely some questions. He's got to get away from the gate a little bit better, but this is a very fast horse that is only going to get better. A lot to like with this one.
Absolutely. And like I said in the quick little intro there, we were there. I saw MAGE launch going toward the top of the stretch, blew by Forte.
Yeah.
Blew by a couple other very high quality horses.
Yeah. Cyclone Mischief blew by.
Cyclone Mischief, who I was pretty high on and just made them look silly. And I remember I turned to you. I'll never forget it. I turned to you and said, Forte's done.
Yep.
Because that was such an impressive early kick, the top of the stretch. And by the way, he didn't really fade. He only lost because the superior Forte got in the clear and does what Forte does, which is greatness. But MAGE, I feel like MAGE is still going up that trajectory, and maybe Forte's plateaued a little bit. So if you're a futures player, man, I love MAGE right now. And like you said, only 3 horses to go back on, all at Gulfstream.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like him a lot. He's going to get, again, another one of these horses falling between that 5 to 10 range as far as like overall rankings goes. He's going to be 15, 20 to 1, guys.
Yeah. Now he's going to be a price, and he's a horse I really like. Obviously, you have the Good Magic Curlin pedigree up top. It's interesting. Puka, his dam, she's got one other offspring, a horse by the name of Gunning, filly by the name of Gunning, I should say, who actually is a pretty nice filly, but is a pure sprinter. And so I do think there were some questions with MAGE. Well, how's this horse going to stretch out? Especially, and this is what I think is so interesting about MAGE and we're talking about, is the maiden victory looks so different from the next 2 races. The maiden victory was gate to wire, dominance, tons of speed, no gate issues. I mean, you thought this might be a horse that we're mentioning with Kings Barnes and verifying as a horse that's going to be out there front on the lead. Then you go to that Fountain of Youth, doesn't break that well, and kind of runs into some trouble, still manages to finish, I thought, a pretty game 4th that day.
Respectable.
And then, respectable. And then comes back on the Florida Derby, again, kind of breaks a little slow out of the gate and is kind of sitting a little further back. And but then you said, gets the jump on the field before Forte does. But one thing we saw is that you mentioned he didn't get tired. It wasn't like he got tired. He was running his race. He had no problem going that 9 furlongs. I don't think he'd have a problem going 10 furlongs. It was just Forte's superior back class that just kind of won that race ultimately.
Yeah, I think MAGE is dangerous, bro. I really do. I like him. And that, he had that electric kick top of the stretch. I was, like I said, we were there and it was like in person, there was probably a 10-second period where I'm like, MAGE's going to win. He's going to upset this field. Yeah. And then he closed pretty hard. Clearly not as hard as Forte, who got it done, but wow. I mean, they did bury Cyclone Mischief, who's a great horse too.
Yeah.
I was very impressed. And I can't knock anybody who's high on MAGE. I think he's at that middle tier price, like that 8 to 10 range. I'm taking him over a lot of the horses that a lot of people have a lot higher. I like MAGE as maybe like my 4th or 5th choice, I think.
Yeah. Now MAGE is going to be included in my verticals for sure. I don't necessarily view him as a win contender yet. I mean, obviously there's still 2 weeks to go. We're going to do a lot of digging. There's still a lot of, watching replays, digging into numbers, looking at fractions, things like that. Well, obviously listening to workout reports from Churchill Downs, see how he's taking to the new surroundings, because as you mentioned, all three of his starts at Gulfstream Park. So how's he taking to a new track and new surroundings?
A little bit
scary. But one of the things I remember our colleague here on Trust the Prophet said when he talked to one of his guests on Doubling Down about Gustavo Delgado, they said that his guest said Delgado's horses tend to get better with time. That was one of the things that really surprised them about Mage, was how good this horse was straight out of the box. Typically, his horses take a little bit of time to get better. And if that's the case, he's only going to continue to improve. To your point, there's a trajectory that's going up. And
scary.
Yeah, if you think, I mean, just
jumping 10 points at a time on his buyers, no big deal.
That's the thing. If you look at his Equibase speed figures here that we have up on the screen, 88, 95, 102. 7-point increases each time.
Massive,
what if he runs another 7-point increase and runs a 109? Probably wins the Kentucky Derby if he does that. So,
honestly, he was pretty blindsided by Forte, man. He was not challenged until it was like there was no time for him to react, even if he caught Forte at the corner of his eye, like at the last minute. It was. I think he probably thought he had the field cleared, to be honest with you. So, not saying that that's a defense on him, but he might have a little more. The thing that I agree with you on your concern about all three at Gulfstream Park. That's a little bit of a worry, but this horse has done nothing wrong. This is another one. Here we are in that 5 to 12 range of horses. I can't write him off, and I like it. I like it because he's going to be a price.
Yeah, and I think the big question with him is, how does he get away from the gate? Because we've talked to this about a lot of different horses that, their Kentucky Derby can be over 2 steps after it starts. And if they don't break well, and, especially with the younger horse, post position, I think is probably going to matter a little bit more with a horse like Mage than maybe a horse that's more experienced and can overcome certain, a far post or things like that, or maybe even a more inside post. But he's going to have to get away well. They're going to have to clean up those gate issues for sure. And it's going to be interesting the type of race he decides to run, just because, like I said, every race that he's been in has been a little bit different. And I don't think it's been by design. I just think, he's just not gotten away great the last 2 times. And that's led to him being more mid-pack, a little bit further back. But I think if this horse breaks the way he did in his maiden, he can be right up there on the lead. So he's a horse that I think might potentially have something to say about the pace dynamics in this race as well.
Yeah, like you said, these 3 races, there's been some improv on how to act. Like Tapit Trice is very comparable. Yeah. You gotta improvise based on the fact that you're 20 lengths out at the gate. I mean, and that has shown to me that both of those, Mage, Tapit Trice, both kind of similar, like not getting out of the gate clean.
Yeah,
have shown that they're strong enough to recover from that. But in the Kentucky Derby, man, it's a lot tougher of a recovery path with 20 horses. Filing through a field of 20 is gnarly unless you're dominant. And I don't think I don't think any of these horses are that much better than any of the others. So it's going to be wild at the top of the stretch if you've got 5 to 7 horses that are live and loaded up, because I don't think there's that genuine rabbit that there was last year. So wild. This is great.
Yeah, no, and I will say, obviously, his jockey to this point has been Luis Saez, but it's unlikely to be Luis Saez for the Kentucky Derby. So that's another, obviously, storyline to pay attention to and just watch to see who Gustavo Delgado gets to ride Mage, because I think that could end up having an impact on just the type of trip he ends up getting. Obviously, Saez, outstanding jockey, but interesting to see where he ends up, where Gustavo Delgado ends up going for a jockey on this horse.
There's a certain Hall of Famer I'm hoping lands on that horse, and if he gets there,
well, I think you and I are thinking of the same potential Hall of Famer, and if he lands on that horse, then I think Mage has a good chance of getting out really fast.
Absolutely,
and that could really change things. Win. Yep, I totally agree.
And I think it's going to move the betting needle a lot.
Yep.
So awesome, Matt. We love May. I think this is wild because we both are. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that. I'm trying to eliminate horses, and it's really hard this year. So I apologize if we're looking like we're really touting a lot of these horses, but it's because it's very difficult this year. So
it is difficult this year
for bettors.
It is. I mean, this is This is a great race, I think, to play vertical exotics. I think you can, if you have a strong opinion about a horse, key a horse in a vertical, maybe do a key box, trifecta key box sort of a thing. And you can throw in 4 or 5 other horses that you're really high on, and then they're all going to be prices,
You're
folks.
gonna
They're
get
all
paid,
going to be
dude.
prices. So it's not going to be a sort of rich strike. I don't think, I mean, unless Wild on Ice wins, but I don't think it's going to be a rich strike type of a superfecta, trifecta payoff, but it's going to be a very healthy one because I think you're going to see multiple double-digit odd horses hit the top 3, and
100%.
that's great for us who love betting on the sport.
Well, I think the favorite's going to be like 4-1. I think because even Forte, the doubt he put in everybody's mind at the Florida Derby just by barely clipping that, and no knock on Forte, but
yeah,
that was a little too close for comfort if you're a huge Forte fan.
Yeah.
It's going to be 7-2 type favoritism. There's not going to be that 3-5 chalk. Everybody, listen, please subscribe, like the channel. We're doing all kinds of Derby stuff. We got it coming on all the next couple weeks. We're all in, baby. Let's do it. Matt, anything else? Close it out.
Just like and subscribe. And remember, it's now post time.